I'm okay. Good
Good.
evening from Nigeria.
Good evening. What can I do for you?
Hello?
Yes. What can I do for you? Appreciate you, Danny. Danny's on the ball. I was giving her a second, Danny, for obvious reasons. Trying to see, what that was all about. Some people you gotta give a bit more grace, be a bit more understanding, a bit more patient, I would say. You know? Depending on their profile pic, you have to know when to give more grace and be a bit more patient. All right, let me see. That's the spirit. Indeed, indeed. Again, people, if you have a question or problem pertaining to dating and relationships, you can request up only if you have a question or a problem pertaining to dating and relationships, okay? Hello. Hello? All right, you get two hellos before I move on at this point. Yo,
Hello,
what's going on, man?
what's going on? So I'm not English. My English is kind of rough. I'm Portuguese.
Okay,
I will try my best.
okay.
So like, I had this girl. We hang out for like 1 year.
Uh-huh.
So at the beginning, I was like trying to know and take the thing slowly. And then she got upset because the things were not like involving something seriously, and I acknowledge that, and I try to make the things right. So now we start like over again, and now like um like it's so like hot and cold all the time. Like she invite me to like go to his parents and hang out with their family and shit. I go there and we have a good time, but then like some shit happen, and then suddenly she doesn't respond anymore.
Hmm.
Like it's so hot and cold now. It's so, I don't know. Like we have like 1 week good, and 1 week is like fucked up again. And I always like feel the feeling like I need to prove her that like this time is for real. I know.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it.
So what's your question about this situation?
So I don't know how she feels about this. If I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if she's like playing with me. Like
You
it's
said
so
that
weird, man.
you said
I
that
don't understand.
you said that she gets cold. How is she getting cold?
Like through the small things, she just gets cold. She like doesn't respond to me, and then out of nowhere she calls me, and it's like it's all good again. And like now we are not talking at all because like I was kind of dumb. Let's say like that. She mentioned we were talking, and she stuck a girl's name, and I said that that girl already tried to hang out with me, but I rejected her, and then I fucked up. she just didn't she didn't like that I say that. I acknowledge that I fucked up, but then her mother called me to go to their house, and I got to their house, and it was like I tried to mess with her and play with her. And in the beginning, it was cool. She was laughing and shit. But at the end of the night, she just closed it out, and she asked me to leave. And now we don't talk. Like just for that.
You don't talk. Why?
Just because of that, we are not talking at all.
Just because of what?
Because I talked that girl I already rejected, and I don't like her. That girl that she was like talking about her because she didn't like this girl, and I said that I didn't like it too because she already tried to hang out with me, and I reject her because I didn't like the girl that she was talking about her. I don't know if I understand. If you understand what I'm saying. She
So
got jealous, you know?
she got
Because
jealous
I made
because
sure that girl go. Yeah. She
okay.
got jealous.
Okay,
But
hold
then
on, brother.
her
Hold on, hold
mother
on, hold on, hold on,
invited
hold
me.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me ask the question. Just answer the questions that I ask, okay?
Okay.
So there was a girl who she doesn't like, and you told her that that girl tried to go out with you, and you rejected her.
Yeah, yeah. She
Okay,
was talking about the girl, and I told her, yeah, that I didn't like that girl too. And she was like a bitch that tried to hang out with me, but I rejected her, and she got jealous about that.
okay, and y'all haven't talked since.
And we stopped talking just because of that.
Okay,
And then her mother sent me a message to go to that house because they are like a party. So I accept the invitation of her mother, and I write the message to her saying like your mother invited me to go to your house just because we were not talking and just to her to know. And then she sent me a picture of a dog, so I was like, okay, I'm cool to go. And I got to the house, and in the beginning was like she was like I was playing with her. I was playing with her and shit, and she was laughing and kind of opening up. But at the rest of the night, she just closed it out and she not talked to me again. Nothing. Like she's all fucked up here.
okay. So you haven't talked to her since.
Yeah, we never talked ever since. And
Okay,
I'm like confused if I like write her something, if I call her, if I just
okay. Were
give her
y'all? Hold
time.
on, bro. Hold on, bro. You got to stop with the rambling. Just answer the questions, okay? So
Yeah.
were y'all in a relationship?
Like we were starting to get to the
Okay,
relationship,
so no. All right.
and
So
I
you weren't
tried
in a
to.
relationship. Okay. You weren't in a
No, we
relationship.
are something right
So
now. We are
how long have y'all been dating?
like 1 year.
1 year. Okay. So you've been dating for 1 year. Why have you not entered into a relationship after a year of dating?
Like after like 7 months, I was planning to get something seriously, but then we got to a problem that like kind of distance ourselves, and I didn't want to like ask her to a relationship on a bad like on a problem. And then we got like distant for like a couple months. Then we start hanging out again.
Why did y'all get
And this time I was
why did y'all get distance for a couple of months?
because we had like a problem where she doesn't believe me that I was going to get serious with her. I was planning that. I bought the ring and shit, but she didn't believe that I was going to get serious with her, and she like didn't trust me, and she like distanced herself for a couple months
Okay, that's it.
because we
That's
were
it.
not cool.
That's all. That's all I needed. Okay, yeah, you dated her for way too long without moving things forward, so she doesn't inherently trust you at this point, right? That's why she created distance the first time
Yeah,
because
yeah. And then we
okay, hold
started
on. Let me
again.
just talk, bro. Let me just talk. You're ready. You
Yeah,
got to
yeah. Okay,
stop. You
okay.
got to stop talking. I'm talking. Okay, so that's the main issue here. She doesn't trust you. Then she tells you about a girl who she doesn't like, and then you tell her like, yeah, that girl tried to go out with me, or she did. I did take her out, is what it sounds like. You did spend time with her because you said she was a bitch, right? So if you can make that assessment, that means you've experienced her in some way. So either you did take her out or you did entertain her, and the girl who you're currently dating feels betrayed by it because even though y'all aren't in a relationship, she likely views you as her boyfriend, right? So that was like the nail in the coffin. You revealing that you entertained another woman, which she kind of, it feels like cheating to her, even though technically it's not because you aren't in a relationship, but it feels like it on her end. So she feels betrayed, so therefore she's creating distance. Okay. So only thing you can do is kind of take a step back. Don't try to force a connection. If she does come back, then you need to lock it down. No more pussyfooting around like just dating like perpetually. There's no reason to date somebody for a year without making things official. Does all that make sense? Just yes or no, okay? And you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, so I didn't hang out with that girl. Then after I said that, I made it clear to her. That girl like approached me on the party, and I said to her like no. And it was like years ago, not in the time that I was with this girl.
Okay.
I know I shouldn't mention that at all. It was
Yeah.
my bad. I should have mentioned that. I was dumb. But like after we like got distance and we came back together, I asked her like at some way to be my girlfriend, and she was like, "I would think about it."
You can't
And
ask
we
her.
were
You
not-
can't ask her that right now. It seems reactive. You can't
Yeah.
do that right now. You need to
Yeah,
wait
well,
until. Hold on, bro. Jesus Christ! You have to stop talking when I'm talking. I'm gonna have to hang up on you.
Yeah, okay.
You have to wait until she comes back on her own accord, and then try to progress the relationship. You can't do it now because it feels like you're just trying to do it to secure the connection, and she doesn't feel chosen if that's how you approach it. So you need to take a step back until she naturally leans in. She likely will because she hasn't like put a firm like no. She seems kind of internally conflicted. Plus she's come back before. So if she comes back this time, once the connection is solidified, go ahead and progress to a relationship, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right, brother. Best of luck to you.
But
I don't have time for all the constant follow-ups, man. It be the people who don't speak English that well too. They want to talk a lot too, weirdly. All right. What other callers we got? Okay. Marina G, you're definitely for matchmaking. Go ahead and remove you. Who else do we got? Let's try this one. Okay. I gotta block Shorty. It's getting annoying. All right, who's this? Heart. That's language learning and processing. It was kind of you to be patient. Yeah, I'll be patient with you, but you gotta stop talking while I'm talking. That annoys the fuck out of me. Okay, this girl wanted to date other people until she found out I was dating her sister too. Okay, you say goofy shit like that, you get blocked. So don't come here with the goofy shit. All right. Let me see. You say gotta block Shorty, then you no longer see his live. Yeah, that's probably it's probably funny to experience. You hear me talking about blocking someone and then you immediately lose access. It's like, wait, he was talking about me? I was, absolutely. Hello.
Hello?
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. What about you?
Good. What can I do for you? Hello?
Yeah. Of course.
All right, brother. Your signal sucks. So request back up when your signal improves. The algorithm's been pushing me out to matchmakers the last couple of days. I don't know why it's doing that. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I have a question about a relationship that I'm in with an individual, and they are very, very private with their phone, and it's just like I'm trying to figure out if this a real relationship or is this for fake? Like, I don't know. it's like, have you ever been in a house with someone but feel like you're by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So I begin to wonder, am I just a temporary thing or what? I've been dealing with this person like a year and 2 months. We've been on a lot of trips. We spend a lot of time together, but they're very vague. They're very shallow.
Okay.
There's an age gap. I'm actually 10 years older than them, so sometimes I think maybe that's the difference in our thinking process.
What's the ages?
47 and 56.
Okay. Who's paying for these trips?
The 50 something person.
Oh.
Me.
You.
Yeah. I mean, we do more than just trips. I mean, we do a lot of different things, but I just, it's like, I begin to think my end goal and that person's end goal might be two different things, but they're not voicing that. So I'm trying to get some clarity on how to move forward or move away, or,
How did you meet?
We met through some mutual friends. That's how we met.
Okay. And y'all been together for, you said, a year and some change?
Yeah, a year and some change, yeah.
Do y'all live together?
No, we don't live together, but that individual spends a lot of time at my house.
Okay. And your main concern is they're being weird with their phone? Have they always been weird with their phone?
Yeah, they have always been. It's more not just the phone. It's like they search for like privacy phone calls. Like, I think I'm very open and transparent, and I think they're very closed. Like, why are you at my house and you got to go to a separate room to talk to your friend? I don't understand that type of stuff.
Right. How does he pour into the connection?
Huh?
How does he pour into the connection?
Well, I think they're there. They spend time with me. I'm more of the financer. They're more of I'm spending time with you. I think that's how they pour into the connection. Like, they spend a lot of time with me, but it's like, I just feel like in my gut that there's something. When we first started dating, we had some issues with one of their so-called best friends. And we finally got over that, but it doesn't really make sense to me because there's so much privacy when it comes to that individual, and like, your friends are my friends. My friends are your friends. I don't need to leave the room to talk to nobody when it comes to you. You're my priority. So that's where I'm going with this. Is like, your friends call, they're in a situation or whatever. You got to stop, drop, and talk to them. And I think I'm wondering, is it emotionally immature, or what is it? Because if it was something more than that, you wouldn't be at my house. You would be at their house. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
What is the word choice you're using? You keep saying this individual. Why are you using that phrase? Why are you phrasing it that way?
I just said this person. I mean, it's my so-called girlfriend. Okay. So I don't know.
So you've taken like you're the person paying for everything, and they're just kind of along for the ride.
That's what I begin to feel. Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what the situation is. They're with you for what they can get from you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so
it.
how do you know that for sure?
The evidence. I asked you how did they pour into the connection, and you tell me that they spend time with you, but then you also say that the time that y'all spend, she's not really, everything is surface level. She's not really.
It's like you're on the phone, you texting, you're on YouTube. It's just kind of like, what I'm trying to figure out is that why are you spending time with me if you want to do something different?
Because you're paying for things.
Yeah. I don't pay for things all the time. Like, I mean,
It's
sometimes
it's
we don't
enough.
go anywhere.
It's enough.
She just be,
It's enough.
huh?
It's enough. What you are paying for is enough.
Okay. So, I mean, what questions should I ask this individual? Should I say, what are we,
No,
like,
you shouldn't ask anything. They know what they're doing.
okay. Okay. Alrighty then, sir.
Okay. Best luck to you, all right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Saw people talking about attachment styles. Listen, I know attachment styles are like the new buzzword and they are very useful, but you can't look at all relationship problems from an attachment lens. Okay? What she was describing, there's no need to even talk about anxious and avoidant. You have to have multiple lenses that you see things through. There's no reason to even talk about attachment style. That's as simple as I am benefiting from you financially, therefore I will stay with you. All right, we got to talk about attachment styles here. It's not necessary. Okay. All right. If you have a question or problem pertaining to dating and relationships, you can request up. You can also drop your question in the chat. I will answer it there, but just know that callers get first priority. Callers get first priority. Trauma bonds. I didn't get trauma bond from that situation, but sure, maybe. Trauma bond typically has high highs and low lows. From what she was describing, there was not any highs in that dynamic. I'm new here, still observing. Thank you for sharing, Vicky. Appreciate that. I'm also observing you. What's going on, Destiny? All right, where are the questions? It was just her using her, right? I think she just wants to work. Hold on. I think she just wants it to work, that she's overlooking the core of the problem. Right. Yeah, she just coping with the reality. You can tell she still wants the connection to work. Because people want to have somebody, man, even if it's a subpar relationship. Yeah, Cara, denial. The weather is hot here in New York. Time to go out and be seeing the right environment, ladies. Right. Let's put that deodorant on, okay? Put on that secret, okay? Don't you go out in that heat unprepared. As a former therapist, the narcissist, soul ties, trauma bond, attachment buzzwords killing me. Yeah. It's like sometimes it's as simple as this person just wants you for your money. You know what I mean? It's like it don't even have to be more complicated than that. I'm sure we could ask more questions and tease out some like attachment style stuff in that call. Like she probably is anxious, right? That's why she's staying in a subpar connection, but it's unnecessary. I mean, you help with advice about avoidance? Yeah, sure. What is your question? What is your question? All right, we'll try this one. Hello.
Hi, bro.
What's going on, man?
Is there an echo on my end?
No.
Okay, so I have this question to ask you. Like, I was in a very deep connection with this girl. We were working as students for like 4 years, every Saturday.
All right.
And after a year, I just texted her, like, let's get to know each other better. But since we are both like Muslims, we don't do dating stuff.
Okay.
And she told me straight up, like, I don't talk with guys, blah, blah, blah. We move ahead like a few months. I go on an internship, so I don't work there anymore. And then I come back, and she slowly starts texting me, you know, every week after our work shifts. And she starts getting closer and closer and closer. And then slowly, like, she starts talking about we could get married. Why not? You're a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. It could happen. Like, she starts to bring it all up. And then I ask her a week later, like, do you think this can get somewhere serious? And she tells me it can get somewhere serious, but I'm not ready right now. Maybe in a year or two. You fit perfectly into what I want. You have the perfect value and norms. And she'll probably pick them up in the 3 years that we worked together. I don't know. But like, we also were connecting for 2 months before I asked her that. And then she slowly started like, her exams came by, for example, and then she started like pulling away a little bit, all of a sudden distance during her exams. And then she would text me like, I miss the moments we were talking, and then exams pass and I don't hear anything from her, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I texted her again, and then we worked, blah, 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 time goes ahead. And after a few months, I call out her inconsistency, because there were some inconsistencies in texting. Like one day she would be like very intense, and then one day she would be less intense, like very much push-pull, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And then when I called out her inconsistency, she went into like a defense mode, saying that she's solitude, that she has ADHD, that she doesn't need to talk all day to people, blah, blah, blah. And then she told me it could be that from now on I get like colder with you. And I told her I'm not going to force you or beg you to change or do differently, but it would be bad if the connection ends or gets worse. But you choose what you want to do. And after that, she like over-invested even for 3 months, like daily, about everything. Do you know what I mean? Like apologizing for the smallest delay. She started calling me every night, every day. Like she started to become even more than normal, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But in that inconsistency, since I worked with her, I spoke with like another girl that was like working there, but not in dating stuff. But I spoke about the connection with that other girl. And when like I heard that she was lying about stuff to me, what it was, for example, is she initiated going out. For example, I never chased or pushed it, because we never like, as I told you, like if we don't take the next step towards going to ask for her hand, etc., we're not gonna go out or whatever. So she said herself, since I stopped working there, like, let's go out. And I said, okay, great, perfect. When are we gonna do it? And then she said, if I go on vacation and back, I'm gonna do it. But then she kept on delaying. And then I told her, I work in the week, you work on Saturdays, let's do on a Sunday. And then she told me Sunday is always family day. And then I heard from this other girl, and this was wrong for me. I'm going to be honest. It was wrong for me to involve this other girl that was working with her since I stopped working there. I'm going to be very honest. She told me she's going on a dinner with her best friends. She told me, that girl told me that on a Sunday. And she always told me Sunday is family day. And I asked her that, and she told me it's a family day. So she lied about it. And I felt like at the peak of the connection, how like in words and emotionally, there was no real life progression, I'm gonna be honest. And I confronted her about it. And she basically flipped almost everything back on me, that I went behind her back, that she never went on the dinner with her friends. It was just a family day, blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't text her again. 20 days after, she came with the biggest explosion there was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She came with a very big explosion on my message, like cussing me out, blah, 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 like not normal, because the girl told her everything about the fact that I was talking with that girl about the connection. And then she said, we were so close to the next step, blah, blah, blah. And then it was over. And like a few weeks ago, like we reconnected. And after 1 month, I saw again inconsistencies coming up in the last week. And I just told her, our mindset is different. I'm going to step away.
Okay.
What do you feel about this?
What is your specific question?
So was this like more avoidant playing? Like there are sometimes moments popping up with me about narcissism, even like, I don't know, to be honest. But she did take accountability. She said, I'm sorry I disrespected you, blah, 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 in the rupture. And she said, I'm open to build again, but then you see the push-pull again, and then you see all those stuff returning, and yeah.
Yeah, what I often tell people is focus on the what, not the why, right? You have enough data to know that y'all are out of alignment, and this would be a poor choice for a partner.
Yeah.
There's no need for you to dissect why it doesn't change the situation.
Yeah, of course, that's it. But then sometimes you start to believe, like 1 year almost, we were like talking, working, and like it felt like we were moving forward. But like she did a lot of validation and jealousy tests, also, if you know what I mean. Like we were not in a real relationship yet, but like she was doing a lot of those validation and jealousy tests to see if like I would care indirectly. And yeah, I don't know. To be honest, like I'm conflicted.
You're conflicted about what?
About what the situation was. Like I know, of course, it's done for now. But like, what the situation was. Was it something real or was it not? Like, I know it doesn't mean anything now anymore, of course, since it's over and you don't have to know why. But like,
How old are you two?
I'm 25.
How old is she?
She's 25.
Okay. How did y'all meet?
So we met at work. We work once a week. Like we started working as students. And then she started going very deep. She told me she had this very deep connection. She almost got married. That was the only guy she gave clarity to. She's scared to give clarity or move into a relationship now since she's not ready, and she's scared she's gonna lose herself. Blah blah blah. And then she told me I had this very deep connection with this guy. He came and asked for my hand, but then I found out he was talking behind my back with another girl, and and then he married that other girl. Like, I don't know if that is true or not, of course. Like, we can't 100% be sure. But then she also said stuff like, our connections is much deeper. It's the first time I felt attached. And then she would make up a lot of scenarios and would say, if I'm your wife this, if I'm your wife that. But like, I never felt safe, to be honest, to like move forward with her and like admit feelings or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It was like pure chaos, like I see in the chat.
You said that you weren't. You said that you didn't admit feelings.
No, I never did.
Why not?
I never felt safe enough. It felt like she would move close, but then like say she's not ready for it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you're with someone who's anxiously attached, who has avoidant presentation.
Yeah.
So she's not a fearful avoidant, like textbook fearful avoidant. She's an anxious person who got hurt, and then she adapted after getting hurt by creating distance. And having a bit more, just adopting avoidant behaviors. So she probably wasn't texting you often as a way to prevent herself from getting too deep into the connection.
Yeah.
Right? She would say she's not ready because being ready she can never fully invest in the connection because that makes her vulnerable.
Yeah.
The test of like jealousy is to see where you stood.
Yeah.
Right? So that is likely the situation. Just an anxious woman with avoidant presentation. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's where the mixed signals
when
came
we
from.
reconnected, instead of saying like I want marriage for next year, for example, or 1 year or 2 year, she
Right.
would switch to 5 years. I'm not ready. I'm scared I would lose myself.
Right.
I'm now in my self-independent, self-love era. I don't need to talk to any guy. And like she went on a very defensive rant. But at the same time, she did tell me that this time let's do it more stable, more healthy. If any of us catches feelings, let's admit it to each other. And then if we are not aligned, let's just be honest about it and end it maturely. And what did I do? I texted her, like, I saw like inconsistency again returning. And I texted her, I see misalignment between our mindsets, and that's why I don't see this connection growing. I can't see this growing as of now, so I'm going to take a step back. And she didn't even reply to it, while she was always replying to any text or anything, I would say. So she didn't even open it, but I think she has read it. But like, it's been like 2 weeks. She didn't even open or reply that message.
Right. Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, there's nothing more to really unpack about the situation. That's just all it was. It was something that was never going to work until she gets over like the wounds that she has, the thing that hurt her from the previous connection.
Yeah, because I see some of the people
Okay,
in the
but bro,
comments saying she was playing.
I gotta move on, bro, because we spent too much time on this. But best of luck
Okay,
to you, all right?
thank you,
Uh
thank you.
huh. Hold on one second, my love. Let me look at what the chat is saying. Yeah, you know what comment I hate the most is that X, Y, and Z didn't like you. That y'all have to stop with the oversimplification of events. There's two things people like to say. It's like if a man isn't showing up perfectly in the connection, is he's married. That's one thing people default to. He's married. Oh, he didn't get you a gift just because he has a wife at home that he spent all his money on, or people are acting away because they just don't like you. And no, things aren't really that simple. That woman was anxiously attached with avoidant presentation. That's it. Two ways to be fearful avoidant. Appreciate you, Miles, for removing that person. Speaking, that's another thing that women do. A lot of women do this. Speaking from experience, who's a part of her roster, y'all think all women operate the same way you do. They do not. Women have different levels of psychological development. Y'all got to stop projecting you onto all women. That's not the case, right? It's not to say that he wasn't on a roster, but again, we're looking at coherence, like I said yesterday. Out of all the data that was shared, what answer aligns with all the data? Not a little bit of the data, not a little bit of what he shared, everything that he shared, right? Everything that he shared. Okay? The whole roster approach doesn't align with all the data. You're looking at someone who seems like she's not taking him seriously, and then it's like, okay, well then it must be a roster. No, she was a little bit too vulnerable to not be taking him seriously. She was a little bit too invested to not be taking him seriously. She wasn't playing him like he just was one of many men that she was entertaining. That was not her orientation there. Okay? That makes sense? She likely is anxiously attached, dealt with somebody who hurt her, so then she started to protect herself by moving like an avoidant person would, right? Which created a lot of mixed signals. If you deal with a fearful avoidant, you'll get a lot of mixed signals. But there's two ways to be a fearful avoidant. Either through childhood, and that's a real fearful avoidant, or from you being an anxiously attached person, you get hurt really bad, and then you start behaving like an avoidant. So your behavior looks like fearful avoidance when really it's just anxiously attached. That's it. That's all it is. That's it. Again, she just seems scared of the connection. Exactly. She both wants it and then fears it simultaneously, so it creates the mixed signals. It's not, well, she has a roster. No, it's lazy thinking. All right, so let's keep it moving. Let me see. You look like matchmaking. I'm going to remove you. She wouldn't mention marriage if she was on a roster. Exactly. Which one of you who had rosters were talking about marrying the person? Doesn't make sense. There's a lot of people joining and then dropping. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Fine.
What can I do for you?
Pardon?
Okay. Matchmaking person. All right. Let's try this one. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Great. Good. How are you?
Good. Good. What can I do for you?
All right. So I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. So I've been, I have been companions with a man that in the beginning when we met, I told him that one of my boundaries are that he opened doors for me.
Mm-hmm.
That means car doors. That means all the doors.
Mm-hmm.
So, and last weekend, he didn't open up a door for me. He said, and he said it jokingly, but he didn't open the door. So what he said was, open the door yourself. And then he walked away and was laughing and said, oh, I was joking. But I didn't take that as a joke, so I got my car and left. So I'm like, oh, I cannot go back. So this has been we've been companions for about 2 years, and he has been opening the doors up until now. So I guess my question is, am I wrong if I just don't go back? Because I didn't take that as a joke. It wasn't funny to me.
Why is this so important to you?
That's just one of my boundaries. That's
not a boundary. That's not a boundary. Boundaries serve to protect you. There's nothing that needs to be protected here. It's a standard that you have, but why do you have that as a standard?
I have that as a standard because for me, that is showing care. That is showing, that's showing a level of care that I require.
Okay. Why? What is the story that you're attaching to this?
I'm sorry, you said what is the story that I'm attacking?
That you're attaching to this situation. Like, why is it so important to you?
It's important because it shows your level of care. It shows you can, look back and not just disregard. If you get out and say, okay, well, I have to open the door, or I open the door for her, it shows a level of regard. It shows a level of care.
Okay. You said y'all been together for 2 years?
We've been companions for 2 years, correct?
Okay. How did y'all meet?
We met in a restaurant.
Okay, nice. And how old are you two?
I'm 46 and he's, 44.
Okay. Has this always been the standard that you've held?
Yes.
Okay. So since you were 18 years old, you expect that men open the door for you, and if they don't, then you don't deal with them anymore?
Oh, not 18, not that way, but it's been, I was married for a long time, so it's definitely been a standard since I was married.
Okay, so in your marriage, that was a standard?
Yeah, in my marriage, it was a standard.
When did you start having that as a standard?
Maybe in my early 30s.
Okay, and what made you start making that a standard?
Because I liked it. It's something that I like. It's something that you can't just, walk away from or walk away from me or disregard. You have to take me into consideration when we go into places or come out of places or going places.
Yeah, but what was the moment that made you appreciate that so much? Like, what led up to that? Because you knew I'm assuming you knew about men opening up doors for women since you were younger. So why in the 20s was it not a standard? What happened in your 30s that made you go, you know what? I actually want this to be an expectation.
My ex-husband started doing it for me, and I realized that I liked it.
Okay.
And yes, I did see my father do it for my mother a lot, but I mean, we were kids then. We were just running around opening car doors, so we were happy to open a car door.
Right. Okay. So while you were married, how long were you married?
I was married for 14 years.
14 years.
I'm not married anymore. I've been divorced now for 7 years.
I understand. And when within the 14 years did he start opening up your car door and you were like, I actually want this to be a standard for me now?
Yeah. I liked it.
When in the marriage? Like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4?
I think he started doing it year 2. I think he saw my dad.
Okay.
Started doing it
early in the marriage.
So he did it year 2.
Gotcha. Okay. And why did y'all get divorced?
He was he continued infidelity. He wasn't gonna stop.
Okay. Were you really in love with your husband?
Yeah, I was in love with him.
Okay. You said he did continued infidelity. So it was a lot of cheating.
Yeah, it was more. Yeah, it was a lot.
And you stayed with him because of how much love you had for him?
I stayed with him because we were married, and in the beginning, we tried to work through things, but if they continue, that's just something you do, and I can't be on board with that.
Gotcha. Okay. If he wasn't cheating, how would you describe the connection? Was it really good?
Yeah, we were best friends.
Okay. Okay. And you initiated the divorce?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you want to be married again?
I'm 46 now, and I just feel like I do really well with just companionship.
Why is that?
Because it gives me the freedom to do things that I want for me without any consideration of anyone else. I'm an empty nester. I didn't own a home until I got divorced. I didn't travel until I got divorced. So there are some things I can do and have freedoms with without considerations.
Okay. Okay. You really valued your ex-husband. You liked your ex-husband. You liked how he loved you. But you could not stay because of the cheating.
Right.
You don't want to be married again to protect yourself. Right? You don't want to be hurt like that again. So you're keeping yourself distant within the connection. The function that opening the door serves is twofold. One, it is being used on your end as proof that the man is still valuing you and cares for you, but it's also a way for you to kind of experience your husband's love in a new container. Connecting that act to what your husband was doing for you. Can't be with him, but you can get something that symbolically represents him in a new relationship. So that's why this holds so much weight, because it's both evidence that the person loves you, and it's also how you are still receiving your ex-husband's love in this new relationship.
That's something I've never considered.
That was a hell of a read. I deserve a round of applause for that one. That was a hell of a read. If I can just give it up for myself. Jesus Christ. That was good, wasn't it?
I never considered, I never even thought, I don't even think about my ex-husband. So so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So that's the situation. That's why it's impacting you so much. There's nothing wrong with having that as a standard, but it's so heavy because of everything that you're loading into it. So now that you have that awareness, you can kind of reduce the amount of weight that it holds, right? Because ultimately, this man's been doing it for 2 years. He clearly cares about you. He likely was just joking. If he's doing it for 2 years, then that means on his end it's sustainable. If he was just pretending to do that for you, he would have stopped well before 2 years. Sounds like that he is joking a little bit. I would also just, on your end, you haven't given me any impression that you're not doing this. I just feel the need to mention it. When a man does do that, even if it's every time, show appreciation every time.
Oh, I definitely do.
Okay, let's make sure you do.
It's definitely a thank you or
Gotcha.
a peck or something of that nature. So yes, I definitely do.
Okay.
And like I said, we talked about it. I don't open doors. He doesn't fix his plate. It's just things
love that. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, y'all got it going on. It's just you took it so serious because of the weight with that. If that became a pattern, if you notice that like he's not doing it or he jokes about it a lot, that would be more important. You want to look for patterns, not one-off situations. Okay? So it was like a pattern where he's joking about it a lot, that would tell me there's a bit of resentment there. Or if he just stops doing it out the blue, there may be a bit of resentment there or resenting of having to do it. That would be something to watch out for. But this one-off situation, it's not inherently as threatening as it felt when it happened to you. Okay?
Okay.
All right, love. Well, best of luck to you. All right?
Thank you.
No problem. Take care. All right, people, if y'all want coaching, hit the Service Now button. You see it at the top there. It's at the bottom of the screen, the arrow inside of the dialogue box. Shoot me over a message. 1 hour coaching session. I would ask you about your situation, and if I can help, I will send you the link where you can book your call. Okay? Y'all see what I can do 5 minutes talking to somebody, 10 minutes of a discussion. Imagine what I can do in an hour. All right? So then we got to clip that, Moz. That was good. That was a good little read right there. Let me shoot this text message off real quick. Bear with me. Okay, all right. Two. That's why I said like y'all can't really learn this shit from books. You can learn some of it, but there's an inherent amount of talent that is required as well. All right, let me see. Hello.
Hello. First of all, thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. I'm seeing a man since 5 years now.
Okay.
I know him since I'm 28. Now I'm 33.
Uh-huh.
So the thing is, he is paying my bill. I live in an apartment he's paying everything. He bought me a car and everything.
Uh-huh.
But I don't want to be with him like in a marriage because he's a little bit older. So now I'm open for some real serious, like someone I want to marry.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm in a situation that I'm thinking, okay, should I stop this and find someone to get married and everything, or yes, continue, because the dating is so hard sometimes, and
Right.
yet enjoying life. Sorry.
Okay. So you've been with this guy for how long?
5 years.
You're holding your audio. Your audio's kind of cutting in and out.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you better now. You said you've been with him for how long?
Since I'm 27, like 5 years.
5 years. How did you meet him?
Outside, I was drinking a coffee and he came. I was new in the city.
Okay. When did he start paying your bills?
For like 1 year ago. After 1 year.
After 1 year, he started paying your bills. Okay. How did that conversation go? Did you ask, or did he just volunteer?
He volunteered. Like he was knowing that I want to do another degree, and then he asked me how I want to do it, and yeah, then time comes, and then he said, you know what, I will pay the bills, and yes.
Okay. And
it was like in time.
How old is he?
He's not that old. He's 46.
And you're 27?
No, I'm 33.
You're 32. Yeah. Okay. You're 32 and he's 46. All right, that's not so bad. And you said you want to be married now, right?
Yes.
Why?
Because he's 6 and he travel a lot. He don't want to commit a marriage. He just give me like good time and money and everything, and I don't think I want this. I don't think I want a man like him. Like, I want a serious relationship. You know what I mean?
Would you want a serious relationship with a man who couldn't pay all the bills?
Yes, of course. But sometimes I think it's hard in our time, and I never date like since 5 years because I have him.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, should I stop this and then go and date, or yes, I don't know.
Yes, for sure. You kind of create a bad situation for yourself if you still accept this man's provisioning while being out there actively looking for other people. It puts you in like a vulnerable position. I wouldn't recommend that because you don't really know how people will react when they learn certain things. Okay. So yes, I would say if you want to date and find someone who will commit to you more seriously, then yeah, I would end this because it is no longer in alignment with what you want. So if something is no longer in alignment with what you want, you just remove it from your reality.
That's true. I was thinking like, it's not fair to him because sometimes he told me like, if you want to get married, you can find someone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about for me it's like I don't want to have someone and then date someone. Like spiritually it's not going yet when I have contact with someone, and you know.
Right. Yeah, it's not clean. You won't be entering the new relationship from a clean place.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. okay, sorry. But thank you for your time. And I think I'm now stronger to see the perspective from a man, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just have, my sisters and friends, and they say, hey, just do it along. How you happy and you don't have, problems and everything. But sometimes I'm 33 now and I want a serious relationship, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I got you. So yeah, go ahead and end this and then go out there and start trying to meet other people. Absolutely. All right, love.
Bye.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that call ended in a good place. First, I was kind of hesitant. I thought it was like a sugar baby type of situation. But no, her situation made sense. He didn't start paying for her things until a year end, which is likely that, she actually does like him. Said that he won't commit, right? Won't marry her. She wants someone to marry, and she will be okay with being with someone who doesn't pay for everything. It's not good to buy love, yeah. It's a lower level paradigm. First, it sounded like she just was with him for the money, right? But it's like, as she revealed more, it became more complicated. He probably has a couple on the payroll. 100%. Yeah, guys like that have multiple women. Like when they got money like that, to that degree, like it's nothing. It's like, okay, I'll just pay for your little rent, your little $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 rent. Do that for like 5 or 6 women, and I just get access to them when I want. Sure, why not? All right, who else we got? No, that's matchmaking. Sure, that's matchmaking. Okay. I don't like the queue either, Eva. I also do not like the queue. Hello. Uh-oh. She doesn't seem to feel trapped, though. She didn't say she was trapped. She said she realizes that he's not going to commit. So she's like, all right, let me go ahead and start taking steps to get with someone who can take me serious. When is it okay to start dating after becoming a widow? I meant to ask that yesterday. When is it okay to start dating after becoming a widow? When you've like fully integrated and processed the experience, you've grieved. Yeah, you need to grieve. You shouldn't still be actively grieving. So it's a case by case basis. It's like, how thoroughly did you process the situation? You also shouldn't try to date just because you want to quickly find somebody else. A lot of times, try to find someone else to bypass the grief, or because your sense of self is oriented to the role that you play and you don't know who you are outside of a relationship, so you need to quickly find another one because you won't feel like yourself until you do. So the real reason is, what is the why behind your behavior? Like if you want a relationship, what is motivating that? Is it because you don't want to be alone? You're uncomfortable alone? Is it because you don't feel like yourself unless you're in a relationship? Like, what's the why? Don't just rush into something for the sake of it. Be actually ready. Yeah, dating at 65 is interesting. Was married for 39 years. Dating at 65. Whoa, how's that? In what way is it interesting? $65. Ooh wee. You're like dating a bunch of widowers, right? You're right. I'm used to being a wife. Right. So that's not a good reason to try to date right now. You have to develop a stronger sense of self, know who you are outside of a relationship, and then you position yourself to enter into a more healthy dynamic. When you need the connection, it makes you desperate. And when you're starving, you will eat anything. Because men are still boys at 65. All right, let's not do the gender war shit. A lot of immature women as well. Let's relax on that. Let's relax. How many 50-year-old women call me saying, he hasn't texted me in 3 weeks. What could be going on? Come on. This isn't a gender thing. I'm reading a book about finding yourself. Good. Okay. Nice. We love the books here. All right. We got another caller. Nope. Calls are like very parabolic on like the afternoon lives. We either get like hella callers or it's very slow. What questions have we got in the chat? What questions do we got in the chat, in the chisel? Maj, I got that other call timestamp. Have you written a book? Let me know. I will purchase. I've not written a book, love. I'm not too keen on writing. I'm more of a talker. But if you want your hour-long coaching call, we can talk about any big issue or small issue. Getting people a lot of good results lately. A lot of good results. So if you want that, you can hit that button at the bottom of the screen with the arrow inside of the dialog box. Shoot me over a message. I'll ask you to explain a bit more about your situation, and if I can help you, I'll reach out. You should make a podcast. You can write that book. I don't want to really do a podcast, man. Anything that I do, it's more fun for me when it's live. I know you can technically do live podcasts, but I like interaction. Like, I hate making content. I don't hate it, but I don't like making content. I don't like talking to my phone or making YouTube videos. I do that shit for marketing. What I enjoy is this. I enjoy this aspect of doing things. Live interaction. Coach, you can audio record it and have it transcribed. Your favorite AI, I got you. You're right. At some point, I'll probably write one for marketing purposes. Typically, when you go on like the podcasting circuit, when you start getting interviewed, having a book is like a good authority play. So they can introduce you to their audience, like author of Spark and Safety, right? And then you go up there. I'm more than likely, though, going to do like the public speaking circuit. That matches my energy a bit more. Create a journal for men with prompts. That doesn't really appeal to me. Spark and Safety podcast. Yeah. Like, I also don't want to do a podcast where I'm interviewing people. That's not fun for me. Just clip your best calls, merge them based on the topic. Yep, that's right, Danny. I agree with that. That's a good way to approach it. I have a question. What is your question, love? You can either request up or drop it in the chat. Either request up or drop it in the chat. For you ladies who have already purchased the coaching strategy call, I'm offering additional calls, 30-minute calls for follow-up, ongoing support. So message me if you purchased, because I don't really associate. I don't know like which TikTok handles are yours. Like, I don't know who's bought and who hasn't bought, unless like I recognize your name and your face. All right, we don't have any more questions? Because we don't have any more questions, I will gladly dip out. Love your insight and advice. I would definitely reach out to you for the hour coaching. Appreciate you, love. Do you believe in taking breaks? No, I feel like you should break up if you feel like you have to take a break. Now, if you're married, there's like you can be separated. That's different. But if you are in a relationship, like a break, you probably should just break up. I sent the question. You sent the question where? In the chat? I hope you don't mean you DM me a question. I don't answer questions in the DMs, love. The DMs are only for if you want a hour-long strategy or a coaching call. What does what mean? What I just said? You DM me if you want an hour-long coaching call. So if you want consultation, you put it in the chat. I don't see your question in the chat, love. My baby passed away recently. The dad just ignores me or now tries to just deny anything. What is he trying to do? Well, first off, I'm sorry to hear that, Ray, but what is he trying to deny? After 2.5 years of dating my girlfriend, we're still dealing with the same issues. Is she toxic? Depends on what the issues are. You ask a question, I can't see into your brain. So everything that's up here about the situation needs to be written. Okay. The question's above where I don't see it. Call in, guys. It's easier. I keep telling people to call in. I don't know why people are afraid to call in. The noon crowd is a little remedial. Sometimes that be the case. Coach, you should go on Age of Attraction. No, I don't really won't do anything for my business. I'm not trying to be a celebrity. That's the quality of the questions. All right. Well, is it okay to connect with someone nice but no spark? It will come. Not necessarily. Depends, right? Like if there has to be some degree of spark present. If you don't feel any with the person, it's probably not going to work out. Not if you're in the West. Hello. Hello. Okay. So you get 2 hellos and that's it. CC. What's
Good
happening?
morning.
Good morning. What's going on?
Nothing. I don't have a question or anything, but I was just gonna, I didn't mean to come up. I was just gonna let people know if you do want to not pay attention to the comments when you come up, you just hold down your phone, the screen, and it will say clear display, and it will take the comments away. And you do not have to worry about what anybody is saying. It's just so much easier because those comments are gonna keep going. So if you guys trying to come in and ask a question, it's just so much easier. Just come up, panel, promise. The comments don't know what they're talking about. That's why we're all in here.
Right.
So, everyone's going to have an opinion, but just want to offer up, like, hey, just come up, get your question answered, because he's going to ask more questions and to get more context. So you're just trying to fit this into however many characters for the sentence in the comment. You're not going to really get the answer that you're looking for. So, just want to offer that up. If you do want to still come up before he ends the live, because he's going to end the live, y'all. So, and those that are like, yeah, ask a question, why don't you guys come up too and ask a question? Because I don't believe that I'm familiar with you guys. So, just want to say that too. But yeah, you can just clear the display, and that also helps with you won't see the comments at all while you're up here. So just want to let people know that's an option.
I appreciate it, CC.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Someone said CC came up. I immediately started tapping. She ain't applied belt to ass in a while, but don't play with CC. She gonna come for you. Auntie gonna get the switch, right? I tried it out and it works. You tried what out? You try what out and it works. I think like if you just have safety or compatibility and no spark, it can work technically, just not in a culture that prioritizes spark so heavily. You look at some arranged marriages that have worked, there was probably no inherent spark, and the spark grew over time. Like, think about this from a first principle perspective. If you were on a deserted island, and it was just you and a woman, maybe you approached Shorty, she turned you down, she wasn't attracted, but then somebody kidnaps both of y'all. Mr. O'Neill probably did it. Mr. O'Neill kidnapped both of y'all because he's tired of being alone on Turks and Caicos, and then he takes y'all to Turks or one island that's surrounding Turks. There's nobody there. It's deserted, right? Y'all gonna be fucking at some point. That's going to happen. Eventually. It's going to happen. So, what's going on there? Right? You have forced proximity, in a sense. Okay? Forced proximity. If you are within an environment where you have a psychological escape hatch, meaning you know you can just leave and it's normalized to just leave. If you enter into a union and there's no spark, you're likely just going to leave. Unless there's a lot of psychological weight to leaving. Like arranged marriages typically are connected to religion, and there's a lot of religious weight to leaving. So the person stays in the connection. And while staying in the connection, they start to develop fond feelings for the person. But in a narcissistic culture like what we have in America, that likely won't play out. You will just leave before that mechanism comes into play where you actually start liking the person. Choices and options ruin people's ability to hold and sustain energy, and not yet just in relationships. Right. Right. So, because we know how easy it is to leave, and we know how we could just find somebody else, like that awareness. Like, I think about it from the perspective of like, I'm somebody who, I was having this conversation with my sister, right? And I'm somebody who, career-wise, I have to do something I'm passionate about. I have to. But it's not so much that I have to, it's more so because I know I can, because I live in a culture where that's a possibility. If I was in a time machine and you put me back in like the 60s, where that was less of a thing, or the 50s where that was less of a thing, I would probably find a way to make peace with like a 9-to-5 job. But the awareness of knowing that I can do something I'm passionate about creates the psychological conditions where I won't settle for less, right? So the same thing kind of connects to what I'm talking about with relationships. The knowing that you can just leave and get somebody else reduces enough tension to where like you won't stay in a connection that lacks safety, that lacks spark long enough for the spark to come into play. I listen here while at work. I respect and hear that constructive energy. Right. That's interesting though, because people have asked me that before. Like, can it work if I just have safety and no spark? It's like, it can, but it's not likely going to if you don't have any kind of like religious weight or cultural weight to the connection itself. Without those external influences adding more psychological weight to the connection, you're probably not going to stay in those conditions long enough for you to cultivate more spark. But how long should we wait for spark? Is it a few days? It's not a length of time. It's more of the psychological conditions at play. It's like psychological readiness. Now, it sounds like you asked something different, Sarah, actually, than what I was just talking about. You got to also be able to differentiate between healthy spark and unhealthy spark, right? So I say give like 3 dates before you like, unless someone is just clearly not a fit, you can cut them off. But if you like the person, if y'all cool, you see a lot of potential, 3 dates you'll have the knowledge that you need. But yeah, spark is a feeling. There's 2 types of ways that you can feel it. Anxiety, to women who are like stage 1 women. I went over the 4 stages yesterday of development. To women who are like at stage 1, which is predicated on they are more reactive. They're less aware of their behavior. They kind of just neatly default to their attachment style. So like if she's avoidant, she just acts like an avoidant. If she's anxious, she just acts like an anxious person. And she doesn't really reflect on her behavior or tries to course correct. To a woman like that, anxiety is going to feel like spark. That's all she knows. Her only reference for spark is anxiety. So if a man makes her feel anxious, she's going to feel like she really likes him. So that's the unhealthy version of spark. The healthy version of spark is you just like the person. You enjoy spending time around them. You're genuinely curious about them. But that doesn't feel like anxiety. So a stage 1 woman can like the guy and be genuinely curious about him, but because the anxiety is missing, she thinks something is wrong. She's like, well, I don't feel the anxiety. She doesn't think that anxiety is anxiety. She understands anxiety to mean like passion. To her, anxiety is passion. So when she doesn't feel the passion or the anxiety, she's like, well, I don't like him then. Because she doesn't have a frame of reference for a healthy spark. Right? So then she leaves the connection. So if you're a guy who gives healthy spark, it probably won't register as strongly with the stage 1 woman. Anxiety doesn't feel good though. No, anxiety feels like an emergency. Anxiety is a feeling. You feel strongly about something. So then women who have that level of awareness tend to perceive that as passion. And a lot of them can't, like women who get into cycles of just dating toxic guys, a lot of them can't differentiate between healthy spark and unhealthy spark. But what if someone already has anxiety in general? What do you mean? I heard that on the post on Instagram as I look up anxious, preoccupied. Right. Okay. Like how to differentiate? Yeah, you differentiate by like if you have general anxiety, that's different than it being like reactive anxiety, right? So it's like, oh, he doesn't text me back, or he's hot and cold, or push pull, right? And then that makes you anxious. Now you want to chase him. That's what a lot of women are chasing, like anxiously attached women specifically. This is a good thing to understand. So then the flip side is this on a woman or a man to navigate? Both. It depends on who I'm coaching, right? If I'm coaching a woman, then I talk from that perspective. If I'm coaching a man, I talk from that perspective. Because if you're a stage 1 man, the only way you know how to really create spark is to create that anxiety. So I rarely get avoidant male clients because they already attract women. Because if you're a man and you're avoidant, you're going to attract women more than likely just by you being yourself, because it's going to create that anxiety. But you're only going to attract women who chase that feeling. They're not chasing the anxiety, they're trying to relieve the anxiety, if that makes sense. So a man makes her feel anxious, she experiences that as passion. she tries to relieve the anxiety by leaning into the connection and getting more clarity and certainty. So the man becomes the source for relieving the anxiety. Missed the stages convo. Where can I find them? Well, you can always book your coaching call. I can use that to assess your situation. Your 1 hour coaching call. Again, for everyone who has already purchased a 1 hour coaching call, make sure to DM me because I'm offering like 30-minute follow-up calls. You can book as many of those as possible. It's half the price of what you paid for your original coaching, hour coaching. So yeah, it makes for the interesting puzzle. That's why guys are like, you know, I'm a good dude. Like you'll hear guys who are like, they were toxic. They used to be toxic, and then they moved to not being toxic, but then they are less attractive to women. And it's like, yeah, because you're still trying to date stage 1 women, but you have to be toxic with them. You just have to. You can't not be toxic with them. You gotta kind of be toxic in order to get, like, you can still attract them, but you're only going to have them for a short period of time. You can't hold the connection long term. You got to be, in order to hold them, they need that drama. They have to have it or they'll leave. To be healthy around them is too disorienting. It overwhelms them, right? Like if I get around a woman who's stage 1, I can attract her. She'll find me physically attractive. I know how to turn her on and stuff like that. We can probably sleep together, but being serious, she gonna sabotage every time. Every single time. Said my kid's father. I would definitely talk to you when I find time after work. Sounds good, love. Look at Z with the wisdom. Zion? What did he say? Zion? Wisdom. It's like an oxymoron, ain't it? But a relationship built on spark will never outlast a relationship built on purpose. You're right. Right, Zion. Right. Purpose is more of a compatibility thing. Purpose is more safety oriented. Zion went away and came back enlightened. Apparently so. Apparently so. Big Z. I told you, I used to think Zion was a figment of my imagination. I didn't think he was real until I started y'all like reference him as well. I thought I was having like a schizo episode. But yeah, so that should give guys peace of knowing that they're not doing something wrong. They're just they're just not a match anymore for stage 1 women. As guys start to develop themselves and learn these concepts like spark and safety, you're just not going to be a match for stage 1 women. And unfortunately, most people are stage 1, just in general, meaning they aren't super conscious. Another word for it is like NPC. What is an NPC? An NPC is someone who is like you perceive to be barely sentient is the wrong way of saying it. But they're just like defaulting to like, what are the expectations, right? Stage 1 woman, it's not that simple. You can still be like, if you're a stage 1 man, you could be incredibly successful. If you're a stage 1 woman, you could be incredibly successful. But they're not as introspective. They aren't as conscious into their own behaviors. They don't think about why they do what they do. Right. So she feels anxiety, she runs. Right. Stage 2 woman has a bit more awareness. So she's going to feel, you go from stage 1 to stage 2 through pain. You don't have to go to stage 2 at all. You can go from stage 1 to stage 3. But oftentimes, you go from stage 1 to stage 2 because you experience some sort of pain and you're like, the way I'm doing things leads to pain, so I got to change something. So when you see that anxious person who starts acting avoidant, they're stage 2, right? Yeah, pain is the biggest motivator. So earlier we had a call where the person was like, or some women in the chat were like, she doesn't like him. The guy, the Muslim guy. He was talking to a stage 2 woman. So she was anxious, was talking to another guy. They were going to get married. She finds out that he's talking to another woman and he ends up marrying her. She gets betrayed, right? She gets betrayed. So she's like, that hurt. I don't want to feel that anymore. So what do? You adapt. You overcorrect. So then you adapt by, okay, I'm going to be more avoidant. Even though I'm anxious, I'm going to behave more avoidant. So instead of me texting him so much, I want to text. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to text him. I'm not going to text him today. I saw he just messaged me, but I'm not going to message him back. He wants to see me today, but I think I'm too available, so I'm just not going to see him. Because that would make me too available, so I'm not going to see him at all, because I'll be too available. See what I'm saying? Stage 2. Stage 3 has 2 subtypes. Stage 3 is, subtype A is someone who has built a stronger sense of self. They've done a lot of internal work, but who they are is predicated on what they have accomplished. If you take away their accomplishments, they don't know who they are anymore. A stage 3 subtype B person, right, is someone who has a strong sense of self. Someone has a very strong sense of self. If you take away their achievements, they still know who they are, right? You're in rare territory for stage 3 subtype B. Rare territory. That's not a lot of people. A lot of people don't. You go your whole life stage 1. You'll go your whole life stage 2. If you get to stage 3, you'll go your whole life stage 3 subtype A and never get to stage 3 subtype B. I'm stage 3 subtype B. And there's the 4th stage, which is like you almost completely integrated. Like if you're a man, you've integrated your feminine. If you're a woman, you've integrated your masculine. You aren't really concerned with how you're perceived at all. You have a healthier orientation. You don't need any kind of connection. You don't really need any external validation for the most part. There may be a little bit of that, but stage 4 is almost not even worth breaking down because it's so rare that you probably won't get there. Why you break this down like a science? Appreciate you, love. I do break it down like a science. You want to know why I really break it down like a science? On that coaching call, that 1 hour coaching call. Stage 4 is like, that's when you truly are connecting with other people out of all need is gone for the most part. You're not getting with the person because you need them at all. And that's when you truly have agency, and that's when you truly are being with somebody just because you just choose to be with them. That's the healthiest place to come from. Stage 1, you can't even really argue that they're making a choice because they're so driven by their unconscious drives. Like, does that anxious woman love you because she loves you, or does she love you because she felt so much anxiety with you? You know? What's the difference between 3A and 3B? The main difference between all the stages is the higher you go up, the more you're generating internal supply. And supply is basically your sense of okayness. When you're stage 1, all of your sense of okayness is predicated upon things outside of you. So you're the anxious woman or anxious man trying to talk to the person you're dating all day because you want them to reassure you. You need their reassurance. You need their reassurance. You need external supply. You need a lot of it. You don't generate any internal supply. All of your supply is external. Meaning, if the external shit ain't working, the way that your partner engages you is going to determine whether or not you feel okay. If they're good to you, they're kind, if they're giving you what you need, you feel okay. If they're not, you feel bad. So then you try to manage them to feel okay with yourself. Stage 2, you still have that problem, but you're a bit more conscious with it. But it's still pain that is motivating you. You're just reacting to the pain. Pain is what's driving you, but you still need external supply. Stage 3A, you have started generating internal supply, but you're still predicated mostly on external supply, which is why if you were to lose all your accomplishments, you will not feel okay anymore. Stage 3B, you're mostly only generating internal supply. And stage 4 is where the problem is pretty much solved. How would you balance the feminine and masculine? It's not about like balancing, it's about integration. So like there's women who are feminine. I was talking to a woman who I was coaching the other day and I had to explain this to her, and it really helped her because she was thinking that if she's feminine, she doesn't want to have to become masculine because she doesn't want to become one of those women who say like, I don't need a man X, Y, and Z, right? And I was telling her, no, what you're describing is women who have been polarized to the masculine. So they went from feminine to masculine. That's not what I'm talking about. When you integrate, you just make it a part of you. You cultivate the capacity for tapping into your masculine if you're a woman, and the capacity for tapping into your feminine as a man. So an example of tapping into your feminine as a man is, or integrating your feminine as a man, is becoming a more emotionally intelligent, feeling more, right? Now, when you do that, you don't just become effeminate. You don't just start crying, becoming a big crybaby. No, you just now have the ability to connect emotionally with people and attune to them a bit more. So you have an additional tool in your tool belt. You've increased your capacity. So yes, part of the growth of the feminine is to integrate the masculine. Part of the growth of the masculine is to integrate the feminine. Because both of us, men and women, have both feminine and masculine energies. Just some are dormant and we haven't tapped into them. So the role is to integrate, not to become, integrate. I feel like I'm all of the above depending on the day. That makes sense. What's an example of integrating for women? Being able to take care of themselves, not being so dependent. So when they go to school, have a career, start cultivating an identity. A lot of women don't know who they are because part of where we get our identity is from our fathers. If you grew up without a father, you're probably going to have identity issues. Who on earth doesn't rely on external supply? There are people who, this is biblical. You look at biblical figures, right? And what Christianity is supposed to be. Paul in the Bible, internal supply, right? So when he's in prison, when he's like counted joy, when you go through struggles and trials and tribulations, it's because his focal point, his identity rests upon who he is in Christ, not on his external situation. So he can be in prison and then still be himself, right? You look at Viktor Frankl, his book, Man's Search for Meaning, when he was in the concentration camps. He was a Jewish guy in the concentration camps. The whole premise of the book, Man's Search for Meaning, is you can create meaning. The last freedoms of people is the meaning that you attach to events, right? So he said, I can be in a horrendous condition such as a concentration camp and still have joy because of the meaning that I attach to this situation. The meaning that I attach, meaning internal supply. So external supply is not like food and shelter. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your sense of okayness. Your sense of okayness inside. There are some people, if they didn't get a text back today, they don't feel okay. They need that text back to feel okay. There's other people, if they don't get a text back, they notice it. Oh, okay, maybe she got busy, and they go on about their day. They're still okay. They don't need that to be okay. So you want to step up the stages. Reach out for coaching, 1 hour coaching call. Can't get you to stage 4 because I'm not there yet. I won't be, well, you can get to 3B for sure. I can get you where I'm at. I can get you to where I'm at. You got to be honest about those things, right? That's one of the issues I have with some therapists is with certain careers, you can only get people to your level. You can't get people beyond it though. You can only get people up to your level. And a lot of people in the mental health space, they don't apply it to themselves. So your therapist would be a stage 2 person advising you. And it's like, so you can only really help me get to stage 2. You know what I mean? I'm already stage 2. You know? So what if don't need it but are reactive? Does that mean lack of internal? You're reactive because you need it. That's why you're reactive. That's the tell. Do you think people move through those phases throughout their life? Yeah, if they're like intentionally working on themselves. You can get to stage 2 unconsciously or without like intending to. Well, there's still some degree of consciousness to it. But you're not getting to 3. You're not getting to 3B without intentionality. And you're not getting to stage 4 without intentionality. Absolutely not. Bro, can you be the safety guy in a relationship and then after 3 years add the spark again? Possible? When you say add the spark again, it means that the spark was there originally. So if the spark was there originally, why are you defining yourself as a safety guy? What's the stages again? I'm certainly not going over them again. I'm sorry. I'm doing that. I spent like 20 minutes on them, bro. I'm calm in the beginning until I get one trigger. Then it's doomed. Working on it though. Good. What's the framework called for these stages? What do you mean by framework? It's just something I made up. This isn't really a framework. This is something I made for as a way to help assess where I'm at, but also help with coaching clients, both men and women, since I help women now as well. But there's a lot of with psychology, there's a lot of overlap, right? Like self-esteem overlaps with the idea of supply. Higher your self-esteem, the more internal supply you're generating, right? The idea of nervous system regulation also kind of correlates with it. Attachment styles correlate with it, right? So like stage 3A people tend to be avoidantly attached. Stage 1 can be avoidant people, anxious people, and fearful avoidant people. Stage 2 people tend to be anxious avoidant. So like they're really anxious, but they're behaving like an avoidant person. Stage 3B, secure. Stage 4, definitely secure. It's like a couple of models blended into one. Oh damn, that made sense. I tried to Google it and couldn't find anything. Yeah, bro, we create proprietary situations here. Like I'm not regurgitating shit. We're making these models. What's up, Cass? I took notes, right? I became one and forgot to reinforce the spark. Well, yeah, you can add spark back to your connection. It's probably going to be you just having more of a life, though, to be honest with you, and saying no more. What if it's a few days without contact, then that feels like a pull away? What do you mean? What's the question there? How's it helping women different from men? You mean how's it helping men and women differently? I mean, it's not really. The stage model doesn't really help them different. It helps them in the same way. I think I'm all the attachment styles are self-secure. Yeah, you're fearful avoidant. That's all the attachment styles. There's anxious avoidant, fearful avoidant, and secure. Fearful avoidant is just anxious and avoidant. Have you watched couples therapy? I haven't. I'm not really a big proponent in couples therapy, to be honest with you. I know it works, it's just incredibly difficult because when you're doing couples therapy, you're dealing with three entities: the man, the woman, and then the relationship, which is its own entity. Remember when my ex was becoming a therapist, she was like, I'm not doing fucking couples therapy. Because she was like, it has a very low success rate. Very low. Partially because when people even get couples therapy, they do it after all the damage has been done. They don't do it as a preventative measure. They do it to heal something that's already been shot by a gun with a switch on it. You know what I mean? Would you do couple sessions? No, I have no interest. I have no interest in doing couple sessions. I'm also a coach. I'm not a, that's not my bag. I'll leave that to like the actual marriage counselors and shit like that. I like to work with the individual. That's what I can handle personally. I'm like Tony Robbins with this shit. Tony Robbins like counsels presidents and, you know, CEOs and shit like that. And he didn't go to school for it. But he's outdoing all the people who did because he just is more talented with this shit. I'm not credentialed in any of this, but I have a knack for it. That's obvious for anyone paying attention. I have a question. Why do I only have mid-odd men requesting me on Instagram? What do you post? Is your page private or is it open? You like mid as in unattractive? It's a private page. Okay. They trying to see what that's like, Cass. Do you have like your age anywhere up there? Yes, as an unattractive. I mean, for one, there's just more unattractive people than attractive people. So that can account for why you see more unattractive men, right? Two, men who are unattractive have to actively hunt, whereas attractive men typically don't have to actively hunt. They're more passive. So that alone will explain the phenomenon. A very handsome guy doesn't really have to add you. He can be kind of passive. Plenty of women will seek his attention online. Keep finding myself in situations with men who are safety but no spark. How are you meeting them, Crystal? How are you meeting them? You know, if you want to solve that, coaching call. Get the coaching call. I think it depends on where you live too. We have good lookers this way. No, I mean, there's attractive people everywhere, but it's like, there's always going to be more unattractive people than attractive people though. Unless everybody gets surgery. Or mid people. Work, luncheons, gym. Your average guy is going to be like more safety than spark. That's your average guy. So similar to how I was describing the problem with Cass, is like, that's just the average guy. Safety, like when you look at how culturally what we tell young men works in a relationship perspective, it's more safety oriented. When you watch like a Disney movie, I like a mid. No, you don't, CC. How many times you done talked about attractive men in this live? When you look at like Disney or any kind of like coming of age story, it's always a guy who's safety focused and then he gets the girl. So that kind of conditions men like, oh, I should be safe. Women, when they raise little boys, they try to raise them to be the opposite. If the woman was dealing with men who are like toxic, she tries to raise her child, her little boy, to be the opposite of the men that she dated, but in doing so, she overcorrects. So she turns him into the exact men who she would not date. All of these create the conditions where men are a bit more safety oriented than Spark. The voices get me, but if you saw my S's, are they chopped? Your S's are chopped. True, I was a mama's boy and didn't lose my virginity until 21. Right. I've been listening. This is beyond the level of general TikTok territory. Right. Yeah, this is a high signal live. Like, people who come here would know that the information is different. This ain't just bullshit, like, advice that you can Google. But, yeah, so they just create more safety guys. And then those safety guys are stage 1 guys. And when those safety guys get hurt enough for being a safety guy, guess where they head? To stage 2. And guess how they get to stage 2? The red pill, manosphere. Interesting. Raising my teen son, I definitely unconsciously overcorrected. Yeah, you raise him to be a gentleman, but only a gentleman. You raise him to be liked and safe, but you can be liked. Being liked and desired are 2 different things. Do I request attractive men on Instagram first then? Seek them out since they don't seek me? I just had a client who was asking me about social media stuff. She was interested in a guy who had like 100,000 followers. I'm like, best of luck, love. Best of luck. Just know, they going at them. You got a lot of competition. Do you want to enter into a highly competitive domain like that? You seeking out attractive men on social media, like, yeah, that may work if you find like a diamond in the rough, a guy who has like sub 1,000 followers. If he got over like 5K, consider yourself cooked. Consider yourself cooked. It's over for you. You don't get a lot of followers without hella options, bro. Look at my follower count. I don't got to say hello again. You understand? I don't even have to say hello anymore. So, if that's what you want, that's what you want to deal with, do what you want. There are attractive men with no followers. Right. Yes, there are. There's attractive men with no followers. Yeah, if you can find one of them, cool. If you can find one of them, definitely do it. In person is going to be better, though. I'm talking about dudes with a normal amount of Instagram followers that seem cute, not some influencer. Okay, but even, like, what is a normal amount of followers? Like 5,000? 3,000? What's a normal amount? Okay, 300, 700 is fair. That's fair. But why are you even like identifying IG as a place to date from? Technology really fucked up the game, right? Exactly. Out here crushing a little hope some ladies might have had. No more than one thing. I didn't say that the hope is crushed. I just say it's competitive. So if you're going to come correct. No more than 1,000 that gives red flag. Okay. Just know you can have 700 and still be out here cooking. Think about what that 700 number means. That could be 400 women. If he's attractive to you, he's attractive to other people. You find him to be attractive, other people do as well. Same thing, the inverse is also correct, right? Like, for a guy finding women to be attractive, it's like what I was telling my client was, because her and the dude never had a conversation. And she was picking up on vibes that he was attracted to her. And I'm like, he might be attracted to you, right? Like, he's following you, he's doing these other things, like liking your story and stuff like that. I'm sure he is attracted to you. But the same signs he's sending you, there's probably 100 other women that he's doing the same thing for. He's probably also following them. He's probably also liking their story, right? he doesn't know you. All he knows about you is that he finds you to be physically attractive. And physical attraction is a commodity nowadays. It's not special. So you can't really get a read on the situation until like y'all actually like connect. How do you book a call? You can just hit the button at the bottom of the screen with the arrow inside of the dialog box. It looks like this thing right here. You hit that, send me a message. I'll ask for more information about your situation. And then if I can help, because I only help people that I'm sure I can help, I'll send you a link where you can book your call. Just because someone is attracted doesn't mean that they want you. Right. Doesn't mean that they're intentional about it. 100%. 100% accurate. But it's also like women are like, why don't men approach these days? It's like because the attractive ones don't have to. You're not asking why don't men approach. You're asking why don't attractive men approach. Because the men that are probably attracted, like approaching you, are probably not your type. They probably aren't attractive. Answer, because they don't have to. They don't have to. Or they're doing it for the love of the game, but they don't really have to. They can hop on a social media. They can hop on like a dating app and get hella matches. They can hop on, social media. I don't get why attractive men have the audacity to not approach. Just go approach pretty women. You're thinking about that from the perspective of a woman who wants to be approached, not the perspective of a man who. Men don't care about how they get the woman. They just want the woman. Do you understand? Just pretend you're a man. They don't care about how they do it. They just want it. So if you're like, oh, I can just sit on my ass and DM shorty, okay, I'm gonna do that. Or I can just wait for a match. All right, I'll do that then. Yeah. Because in these scenarios, I know that she's interested. I'm just approaching you. I don't know if you're interested. This could go very badly for me. This could go very poorly. Now, I still tell guys to do it, but I also understand there's not much of an incentive to do it if you look a certain way. If you're a man who has a certain degree of status, once you get status to a certain degree as a man, women are coming, bro. They're flocking. It's that hypergamous drive. They're coming. Once you're a status, social media ain't nothing but status. So once your following hits a certain point, if you are, unless like you just have all male followers, right? But if you have a woman following, you have a certain degree, you hit a certain threshold, like on IG, that's like 10 to 20K. The work is done. You ain't even got to do much after that. They're coming. They're coming. And you just select from the ones that come. No, yes. No, yes. That's it. That's it. I don't think y'all know like the amount of options like a man with status actually has. It becomes a problem where it's like, when you hit a certain level as a man, women start using game on you. Understand how the mind fuck that is. For your entire life, you've been having to game women, meaning like you've been having to impress them in some way. Be charismatic, do this. Maybe hide your true intentions, right? But then you hit a certain level and it's like, oh, now not only are they pursuing you, but they're now using game on you. Where they're the ones trying to be charismatic. There'll be women who fake interest. They know you're interested in something. They know your favorite music. They'll start pretending like their favorite song is by your favorite artist. Just to connect. So I'll coach a guy like that because his biggest issue is not attracting women. It is to know who's genuine and who's not. Because those women will also come to you as a way to level up their own lives, not just financially, but even just from an attention perspective. You'll have women who will date men with high status just so they can make a video about how they dated that man with high status, so that video will go viral. So it was just a ploy for attention. Do you understand? So it's a dangerous situation. That's why you have these celebrities making women sound like NDAs. It's not because they don't want the woman to get like money or to get exploited. They don't want the woman going out making story times about dating them. There's only like 100 men that will ever experience that. No, there's more than that. You can be a niche celebrity, like a micro celebrity. That's what I'm not a celebrity, but like I'm very like in my niche. Yeah. You're into this. Yeah, it's status. But it's not like I'm not experiencing the same degree of status as like a rapper. You know what I mean? You could be really deep in your bag with anime. There's a lot of women who like anime. You go real deep in your anime bag, and then you can have high status to your job. Exactly. Why do you think like the managers have like or the men in leadership are always outed for like dealing with the women? Why the women always flock at? If you worked at like a restaurant, the manager was probably pulling half the servers. He got status in that environment. Status is context dependent. On social media, I have a higher degree of status. If I go to Target right now, they don't know who I am. I dated my manager a long time ago. Right. Now, if he wasn't your manager, you probably wouldn't have done that. It helped a lot. Maybe you would have, but it helps a lot. Status signals safety for women. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's also like the hypergamous drive to it. But part of the hypergamous drive is safety. So, yes, that's why I tell guys like not to just approach women randomly. Try to do it within an environment where they have higher status, because their attempts at flirtation is going to land better in that environment. When like you're outside of like an environment that has status, obviously you can still generate attraction. You're just gonna have to apply more effort to it or rely on your looks. And most guys don't look that great. So it's not realistic advice to tell them to rely on their looks. As a European living in the US, those status things is way more prominent in the US. Really, what has been your distinction from where you're from? How's it different? That's one like gap that I have in terms of how things change. I've been educating myself on that. I have clients in different places. I have a client in Greece right now. It's been interesting to notice the differences. I told you I dated like a woman from Paris before, and we had went on like our second date, and I was like, it was like our second or third. And I was like, I'm trying to escalate, trying to kiss this woman. I'm feeling like she's giving me the vibe that she wants that. And I talked to her about it, and she was like, yeah, in Paris, we don't kiss like that. She said, when we kiss, it means like relationship. It means we're taking this very seriously if we kiss you. And I didn't believe her when she told me that, so I Googled it afterwards, and she was right. Parisian women they're not as very open with or liberal with physical affection. Relying on looks is risky for both, right? And like it's not like it's just about status, but I'd be lying to say it doesn't feel good. Right. There's no point in lying about it. It just is what it is. Some guys get mad about that, but I'm like, don't get mad about it, just apply it. You can have, the world is so big now, there's so many niche communities, you can have status in a lot of different ways. Just find a way to get that. That's it. Like, that's not hard, bro. If you're in great shape, go to a run club. Right? Start to a run club. That's the best play you can make. Start something. You start something. If you're the reason why people meet, you're going to be that guy. Don't go to parties. Throw your own party. You want to be vertically integrated. That's like a business concept where you have like the means of production and you have distribution. You don't have to hire any other companies to run your business. You're vertically integrated, right? You don't need any other businesses to help your business run. You do everything in-house. There aren't many vertically integrated businesses. McDonald's has to outsource the meat patties. They have to outsource the French fries, right? As a man, you want to be vertically integrated in your dating life. You don't want to need anything else. You don't want to have to go to another guy's party or another person's event. No, you be vertically integrated. Yeah, clip that. I actually have that written down as a piece of content to make. Should women pursue that as well? No, the dynamics are different. One of the biggest problems with dating on the women's end is they apply advice given to men for themselves. It's different. We're not the same thing. It comes from this premise that society tries to convince you that men and women are the same. We're equal in value. We are not the same. We are almost different creatures. So you can't do the same. There's no reason for you to increase your status. That does not make you more desirable to a man. But for a woman, it makes you more desirable as a man. Unless that woman perceives the status to be threatening, which it can be. If that man isn't, because if a man has status, he always has options. And some women can't handle that. They can't psychologically handle the fact that their man can be with somebody else if he wants to. Understandably, but that's insecurity, right? Because you're not accounting for his faithfulness. That goes beyond just status. So many things women value and men they think value. Yeah, it's the biggest problem with both of the sexes I see is a poor theory of mind. They cannot see things from the other person's perspective. Men think the reason why looks matching is such a big thing is because men know that that's important to us. We know looks are the main thing we look for. So we assume women are the same way. And then when I explain that looks are important, but they're not weighed as heavily as we weigh them, they think I'm pandering or gaslighting them because they've seen good-looking men do well with women. And when I try to explain the nuance, it's like they're psychologically resistant to it. They're just psychologically resistant to it. Women respond primarily to how you make them feel. How you look is just a vehicle to make them feel a certain way. They're really mostly attracted to behaviors. I would even posit that the way you look subcommunicates how you probably will behave, and that's what they're attracted to. Does that make sense? Then we went really deep there. It ain't even your look, it is that they associate how you look with behavior that they're really attracted to. So you look like you will behave this way. Therefore, I'm attracted to that. And then when you don't behave the way you look, it turns them off. So you look like you're confident. You look like, this is why getting tattoos as a man is attractive to women. One, it's aesthetically pleasing, but tattoos have always communicated a bit of edge. So the thing that women find attractive about tattoos is that you may have a bit of edge to you. But then if they experience you and you don't have that edge, you're a nice guy, fucks them up. They're like, it takes them out of the fantasy. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not attracted to you anymore. And you're like, what the fuck did I do wrong? It's like you thought the look was just going to do enough. It doesn't. It is the behavior that they're really attracted to. Which is why you could be someone that the woman is not really attracted to physically because you don't look a way that would suggest you behave a certain way. But then when you do engage her and you behave the way that she's thinking the attractive guy is going to behave, you could potentially get her, especially if you have enough time, if you are exposed to her enough. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes they just can't get with it. You just don't look good enough. Or they may factor in like maybe they don't want to be seen with you, right? In which case, you could probably sleep with her. You're just going to be a sneaky link. I tell guys, if you could magically get a list of like the men women have dated or have slept with, you would not be nowhere near as insecure. You're going to see a guy who looked just like you in there probably. You think, oh, she only deal with men who are 6'2" until you see this 5'7" guy that was putting her through a mattress in 2022 that she ain't tell nobody about. And you're like, oh. So you always look at yourself, appreciate you, Crystal. Always look at yourself as like the outlier. Guys look for evidence. Like, does she like men like me? It's like, man, look, just think of yourself as the outlier. It don't matter. She only hasn't dealt with a guy like you because she ain't met you yet. You the outlier in the situation. You feel me? All right, people. So if you want a coaching call, you want personal access to all of this insight on the 1 hour call which comes with 2 weeks of DM support, by the way. Hit this button at the bottom of the page, right there at the bottom. Send me a message. We'll start a conversation, all right? But I have to run. I got calls coming up. Appreciate the mods. Appreciate the chat. I will see y'all tonight.